Regalé la muñeca a mi sobrina. Se la regalé.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Anytime Español. Today we're going to talk about using direct and indirect object pronouns together.
That's right, and we made a video recently on direct object pronouns, and you can check out that video here or in the description below.
Direct object pronouns replace direct objects, which answers the question what or whom receives the action of the verb. For example, I want to eat cake. Quiero comer pastel. What do I want to eat? Cake. So cake is the direct object.
Now, indirect object pronouns replace indirect objects which answer the question to whom or for whom an action is performed, highlighting the recipient. Now, if you need to learn or review indirect objects and their pronouns, you can click the link here or in the description below. So, for example, I want to give a present to you. Te quiero dar un regalo. So we ask, to whom do I want to give a present? To you. So you is the indirect object. Okay, so we know what direct and indirect objects are. Now, here we can see and compare their pronouns.
So the direct object pronouns are me, te, lo, la, nos, los, las. And the indirect object pronouns are me, te, le, nos, les.
Notice that direct and indirect object pronouns have no differences except in the third person form.
Instead of lo and la, we have le. Instead of los and las, we have les.
Okay, so by now we should understand everything about direct and indirect objects and their pronouns, but how do we use them together? We learned that both the direct object pronoun and the indirect object pronoun must come before the conjugated verb, but when used together, the indirect object pronoun must come before the direct object pronoun like this.
First, we have the subject, then the indirect object pronoun, then the direct object pronoun, and then the conjugated verb. For example, if we say, the boss sent an email to me, we ask, what did the boss send? An email. So email is the direct object. It's masculine and singular, so the direct object pronoun is lo. Now we ask, to whom did the boss send the email? To me. So that's the indirect object, and the indirect object pronoun would be me.
So following our structure of subject and then indirect object pronoun, direct object pronoun, and verb, we would get la jefa me lo envió. How about this one? Robert showed the invitations to us. So first we ask, what did Robert show? The invitations. So that's our direct object. Now it's feminine and plural, so our direct object pronoun will be las. Now, who did he show the invitations to? To us. So us is the indirect object, and the indirect object pronoun will be nos.
So following our structure, we get Robert nos las enseñó.
So pretty easy, right? The only difficult part is in the third person singular or plural, because if we ever have two object pronouns in a row that begin with L, we always change the first pronoun to se. This is to avoid alliteration. So whenever we see the following, le and les will always change to se. And note here that le and les both become se. Don't try to make les ses.
Let's see some examples where we need to change the indirect object pronoun to se.
So if we have the sentence, I gave my hats to Maria, and we want to change it to I gave them to her, we would say
Le los di. But we need to change le, so we say se los di.
Mi papá prestó su coche a mi hermano. Mi papá se lo prestó.
Mis papás compraron los boletos para mis hijos. Mis papás se los compraron.
Regalé la muñeca a mi sobrina. Se la regalé. So, indirect object and direct object pronouns have to come before the conjugated verb. However, in Spanish, there are always exceptions. And when we have an infinitive, we can choose to put the object pronouns at the end, but we don't have to. You'll hear it both ways.
Te lo voy a decir. Voy a decírtelo.
And after present participles. Now, when using present participles, we'll see the exact same thing, but we have to put an accent mark on the stressed vowel whenever we put the object pronouns at the end in order to maintain the original stress.
Te lo estoy diciendo, estoy diciéndotelo.
When dealing with commands, if we have an affirmative command, we have to put the object pronouns at the end and then add an accent to maintain our original stress.
Cuéntamelo. Entrégaselo a Mark.
But with negative commands, the direct and indirect object has to come before the conjugated verb.
No me lo cuentes. No se lo entregues a Mark.
Now, on this channel, we specifically teach Spanish from Latin America. More specifically, Spanish from Mexico. So we won't go into too much detail with this last part, but we feel that we need to mention it so that you're aware of it because students learn Spanish from a variety of places. You're watching Netflix with subtitles or traveling to a different Spanish-speaking country, or you have language exchange partners. So just to be aware of it. And that is, in parts of Spain, you'll occasionally hear le where you should hear lo or la.
Le veo instead of lo o la veo. Yo le conozco instead of yo lo o la conozco.
So this is considered to be grammatically incorrect, and you should not do this. But again, we just want you to be aware that Spanish changes from countries to regions to cities, and you may hear this.
And that's it. We hope you better understand direct and indirect object pronouns and how to use them together.
Yeah, now watch this video to keep improving your Spanish. Until next time.